on the ascending path towards consciousness, evolution, revolution.
Hello, Arturo Mancheno here, and I'd like to discuss something I haven't heard really anyone else mention. When Trump got into office, he did something that essentially put the United States under sanctions. It's essentially what happens when, you go to war economically with pretty much every country on the planet, from China to the European Union to Canada and Mexico. Imagine if you own a business. You're not going to start a war with all of the people you do trade with. Maybe you might haggle with one, see where that goes, but to do them all at once, that essentially put the United States under sanctions with the world. And this is something that I noticed that we would do to every country right before we invaded it. For example, Iraq, we put sanctions on them, Syria, now Iran. That's essentially to weaken the country. You weaken their economy, you break their supply lines, they get weaker, and then you can invade or hurt them more. Essentially, this is something I haven't heard anyone else speak about, and I noticed this, early on. I'm non-partisan. I feel sorry for both parties and people who follow or still believe in anyone within the political system on a federal level. Maybe locally, things are different. Locally things are very different. But on a federal level, they're only working for their puppet masters, which, run the world. We've seen that they can essentially close down the world. And, these are the people that are truly in control, not the politicians. Politicians are just puppets. So now with this new C thing going around, a lot of people just don't understand. Just look at the mortality rate. Don't look at the cases. The tests themselves are very faulty. So if you were to test 100 people with these same tests, people are going to come up positive, even if they're not. And the actual C virus, I learned a long time ago that it stood for the common cold. That's what I learned. And so, it's very crafty to have chosen this particular virus. And, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. But the deal is that you just look at the mortality rate, and more they're showing that it's very small. Okay, it's not worth destroying the economy. I believe that people just don't understand economics, or essentially how the world is run. It's all money, it's all power, it's all greed at any cost, and more for them, less for you. And this is just a diversion tactic that they're using to get you to not focus on what's going on in the economy. When you hear like the major news networks like Bloomberg or any of the other ones, it's all BS. But if when they mention things like a coming depression, or things are as bad as the Great Depression, people have got to start waking up. These central banks are essentially starting to fail. So in 2009, our central bank, the Federal Reserve, we found out that not only did they bail out our own banks, but they were bailing out European banks. So now it's all integrated. Everything is really connected. So if a bank, let's say Deutsche Bank, were to fail, what ends up happening is we also, it's like a domino that starts a cascade, and we're in that. So now not only are we bailing out banks, but we're bailing out central banks since 2009. So what's going to happen when the central banks need a bailout? Well, there's already a plan for that. Essentially, the World Bank or IMF are going to step in with something called SDR, special drawing rights, and save everyone. And everyone's going to be like, oh, thank you, You saved us from sure destruction, when really it was planned the whole time. Take away your freedoms, put you in fear. That's the thing. You don't want to be in fear. You have nothing to fear. All of us are assured that we are going to die. Here's an opportunity for you to die a hero, standing up for what's right, okay? Standing up for the future. It's like we've been handed this situation and things have gone south really fast. It's gotten very somewhat unbelievable, even for people that study, the intricacies of the darkness that's within politics. Things have really, really, really escalated and gone south with what, plans are out there, Just know this, you were born free, okay? In this matrix, you were born free and you are free, okay? If a law does not sound like it is correct, you don't have to follow it, okay? If in the United States, if the Constitution, Bill of Rights, if they don't care about that, well, then, what's your part of the contract? If there's no contract and they ripped it up, then you have every right to not obey, essentially, not to respect what it is they plan. And I can tell you right now, they are not planning to help you. They want more power, more control, and at the end of the tunnel, they want less for you. So, you have to keep that in mind. What's happening is they are creating, essentially, the chaos in the world. And it's going to keep getting worse and worse. I hear things like Goldman Sachs saying that the election's going to be contested. We're not going to know who's going to be president for a long time. So on and so forth. And so, we've already had supply lines cut. It's not going to get any better. And so now we have this defund the police, and they always come up with these slogans that are just crap. It's like, how about reform the police? I think everyone is fine with that on both sides. Defund it. These things are all manipulated so that, it's like, well, we didn't mean that, too late. Kind of wise up, man. We've got to really, on an evolutionary scale, we've got to take it up a lot higher and a lot faster. And I'm hoping a lot of us that, share information like this, keep in mind, because this is going to be, I think, the most essential thing that we need to do in order to make that light at the end of the tunnel a lot brighter for us, a lot better for everyone, okay? That includes those in control, all right? So this is for everybody. Anytime you share information like I just did on you, it's a little heavy. Actually, it's very heavy. Okay, no one likes to think about these things or that they're possible at all, but here we are. Okay? So every time that you share information like this, set an intention with that. For example, just make it very broad, okay? Because we don't know things for sure 100% at all times. So just add something like this, let's say their agenda is, something just really out there like depopulation. Say, well, I hope, whatever their intentions, I hope at the end of this, the most people end up winning, including the planet, okay? And that can be manipulated too, but it's your intention, so you're wishing for good. Kind of rule all that other stuff out. Always put an intention out there if you share this information to fix a situation, to give hope. I mean, this is all quantum energy everywhere, so we each have a say. What I find us doing is essentially regurgitating their plans. They control the media, and so, by simply knowing their plans and sharing that isn't enough, Okay, it's good that we get the word out there, but we have to actually do something that's positive to change it and that would benefit everyone. If you're going to have an intention, it's only going to work really if it benefits everyone. So put that in mind and keep sharing information. But anytime you put that information out, make sure that you send positive wishes to make things better. Thank you very much. This is Arturo Man channel. If you like what I had to say, please like and subscribe, and be well.